Hello, hello, welcome back. Okay, this is a document that I posted today. We're going to do 10.5 part 2. So on the notes, I didn't have very much space to give the most practice for the subtraction formula. So we're going to practice more of those. I'm going to use 2 highlighters if you want to grab your highlighters. The right side of the page is a quiz. So this is just going to be practice. I'm not going to collect this. Your quiz will be due on Monday. So I will host a Zoom on Monday to answer any questions you have from today's notes. And even if you have a question about the quiz, just keep in mind that I want you guys working independently on the quiz. It's very obvious to me when someone just sends a picture around of the answers. It's very easy for me to kind of compare your documents with this whole digital upload. So just keep in mind that quizzes are intended for me to see where you need more help, where we need to do more practice before we take a test. So please just work independently on the quiz. All right, I'm just going to cut this down the middle. If you'd like to glue it in now, feel free to glue it in. I'm going to work on the left side. And I'm going to put the quiz in the pocket page, keep it safe for the time being. Speaking of which, I hope all of you are doing well. I hope your families are okay and everything is going as good as possible with everything going on right now. Okay, part 2, 10.5. I noticed on the assignment, the 10.5 that you turned in, a lot of us were getting these wrong. So whenever they cross inside of the circle, remember it is a plus sign instead of a minus sign. And we're going to use that formula to solve for the arc. The formula for when it crosses is the angle equals half of the measure of the arcs added together. So hopefully this formula makes sense to you. It's a very general formula. The arcs added together divided by 2 equals the angle. So this is a formula, this is the setup that you should use for these problems. So make sure you're putting the angle equal to half the sum of the arcs. Remember, the angle is in between the chords. It's the space in between the lines. So the angle for number 1 is 103. So we're going to do the angle equals half the sum of the arcs. They want arc KM. And that is an arc that the angle opens up to. And on the other side of the angle is arc JL, which they gave us the measure as 125. So to solve for Km, I'm going to use X for it. The angle equals half of the arcs added together. So X plus 125. That is the setup. That's the setup that we need to follow. The angle equals half the arcs added together. Make sure your angle opens up to the arcs. So on both sides of that 103, it is pointing at the yellow arcs. Last week, we had to subtract from 180 because the angle was not opening up to the arcs. But on number 4, you didn't have to do that. A lot of you on number 4 did do that, but this 62 opened up to the arc. So we're supposed to use 62 equals the arcs added together, divided by 2. Okay, with that being said, number 1, our angle opens up to the arcs. We're solving for one of the arcs, so we put x for it. Now we just need to solve this for x. So to get rid of this 1/2, we're going to multiply by the whole number 2 to cancel out the fraction. So we got 206 equals x plus 125. Now the fraction is gone. Solve for x, we need to subtract the 125 from 206. So for that arc measure, we get 81 degrees. So that is how you will solve number 2. I just wanted to do more practice where the secants are intersecting and you're solving for the arc measure. You're going to use this formula for number 2. Okay, switching it up, 3 through 8. You are now subtracting instead of adding. So remember when you have secants or tangents that intersect outside of the circle, you need to think of subtraction. So I think of these as being squished down and it makes a subtraction sign. So now the angle, what do I want to write this? Angle equals half of, and you need to be careful because if we're subtracting, we need to do big arc minus small arc. So since it's subtraction, we can't really get a negative. We can't do small minus big. We have to do big arc minus small arc. So that is the setup that you're going to use to solve for the angle. So number 7 and 8 is solving for the angle. So you'll do big arc minus small arc and divide it by 2. 3 through 6, we're going to use this formula. We're going to use this setup to solve for an arc. Okay, so I just want to color coordinate this. The big arcs will be pink. And the little arcs, or small arcs, will be yellow. So let's go ahead and highlight number 3 and number 4. Number 3 and 4 are similar to each other. I will do the odds, you will do the evens, and just like it's been this whole time, they're going to be similar to each other. So for 3, there's nothing on the big arc. We're going to be solving for the big arc on numbers 3 and 4. Small arc, 75. And they gave us the angle for number 3 is 40 degrees. So we're just going to use the format of the formula. We're going to do the angle, 40, equals half of big arc is what we're solving for. We don't have anything on the big arc. So I'm going to use x for it, minus small arc, 75. So very important that you follow the format of the formula. The big arc in this case is x, so x is going first. That's going to change when we get to numbers 5 and 6. Okay, so just color coordinating this. X was the big arc. 75 was the small arc. All right, solving it similarly to how we did number 1. We need to get rid of this 1/2 by multiplying by 2. So now we have 80 equals, the half is gone, x minus 75 is left over. Now solve for x, add the 75 to the other side. So big arc is going to be 155 degrees. So number 4, you're going to solve it in a similar fashion. You need to figure out the measure. Oh man, there's a typo. I'll edit it before I post it. So this should be QU or QU. Hopefully I remember to edit it. If I didn't, fix it. Okay. That's solving for the big arc. Let's look at number 5. I want you to solve for the small arc. So they gave us the angle. It's 29 degrees. That is pointed in here, which is the angle. They gave us the big arc is 96. And now we are being asked to solve for HJ, the small arc. So we are going to use X to represent the small arc. So following the same format of this equation right here. The angle equals half big arc minus small arc. Angle is 29 equals half. Big arc is 96 minus small arc. That's what we're solving for. So we're going to put X. So now you see that the format, the X, is in a different spot. That's because X is a small arc now. So let's start off the same way. Get rid of the half by multiplying by 2. That's going to give us 58 equals 96 minus X. So don't go rewriting that other side. Keep it how it is, 98 minus X. Now we're still trying to get this, 96. We're still trying to get this 96 away from this negative X. So keep in mind, this is a positive 96. So to do the opposite of positive is negative. Subtract the 96 over to the other side. So 58 minus 96 gives us negative 38. And that equals negative X. So just paying attention to the signs. We got rid of the 96 by subtracting it over. Negative 38 equals negative X. So if negative 38 equals negative X, then what would positive X be equal to? Yeah, we just need to divide out the negative 1 or really just cancel out the negative signs. X equals 38 degrees. So HJ is 38 degrees. So that's the difference when you're solving for the little arc versus the big arc. So on number 6, they give you the big arc, and MK is the small arc. So set it up the same way we did number 5. Okay, another scenario that did not fit on the previous notes was if you have 2 tangent lines. So all of these have been secants or secant with a tangent. The 2 tangents looks a little bit different. So for number 7, we are going to solve for angle PQR, which is the angle formed by the tangent lines. We're solving for that angle. We know that the angle equals half of big arc minus small arc. We know the big arc is 313. So that's all the way from this point of tangent C around to the other point of tangent C. So we know that the big arc is 313. The small arc is just the rest of the circle. So from P to R. How can you figure out the rest of the circle? Right, we need to subtract it from the total. So to get the yellow arc so that we can get started solving for the angle, we're going to do 360 minus 313. So that tells us that the yellow arc is going to be 47 degrees. Okay, now that we know the little baby arc, we can figure out the angle formed by the tangent lines. So the angle equals half of 313 minus 47. The big arc, 313 minus the small arc, 47. So we don't really have to do much algebra, moving things around, solving for x, because we're just solving for the angle. So just do PEMDAS. Parentheses, we have 313 minus 47. That's 266. And now divide it by 2. So the angle is 133 degrees. All right, I'm not going to collect these notes, but they are here to help you get ready for the quiz. On Monday, I will do a Zoom going over any questions you have. I will help you if you have any questions on the quiz. So guide you, help you. So tune in on Monday if you have any questions. The quiz will be due Monday at midnight. Okay, thanks for listening. Have a good holiday with your family. Bye.